Are you tired of tiptoeing around a narcissist's fragile ego only to end up getting mauled anyway? Have you noticed there are some phrases that always trigger their wrath, but you don't know how to steer clear of them? Well, in this video, we'll tell you the 7 deadly phrases that'll turn a narcissist into a raging bull. And we'll also give you effective alternatives so you can keep the peace with them. So without taking further time, let's start with number 7. Have you ever told a narcissist it's not all about you and seen them get really angry or upset? This phrase can actually make a narcissist very mad. They might even react in a way that surprises you. For a narcissist, this statement is a direct assault on their belief that they are the center of attention. When you suggest that they aren't the focal point, it feels like you're invalidating their existence. This denial of attention can make them feel exposed and vulnerable, as if their sense of importance is being stripped away. They interpret this as an effort to undermine their significance, prompting a defensive and often aggressive response to reassert their dominance. So how can you avoid triggering this reaction? Instead of saying, "It's not all about you," try changing the subject to include others. This can help move the conversation away from just focusing on them and towards a more shared discussion. For example, you might say, "Let's focus on the bigger picture here." This way, you're shifting the emphasis without directly challenging their need for attention, which can help maintain a more peaceful and constructive dialogue. Number 6. Have you ever told a narcissist you're wrong and seen them explode with anger? This phrase is almost guaranteed to provoke a strong reaction, causing an immediate and intense backlash. Narcissists have a deep need to be seen as always right, and admitting they're wrong would shatter their carefully constructed self-image. Challenging their correctness threatens their identity, leading them to react defensively or aggressively to protect their ego. They are often unable to tolerate any suggestion that they might be flawed or mistaken, seeing it as an attack on their very self-worth. So how can you avoid triggering this reaction? Instead of bluntly stating "you're wrong," try saying "I see things differently," or "I have a different perspective." This way, you're expressing your own thoughts and feelings without directly challenging theirs. You're avoiding a confrontation that could escalate into a full-blown argument. By the way, if you're unsure whether someone is a narcissist, you can easily recognize them by looking for some signs we've discussed in one of our previous videos. We'll provide the video link for you in the description below. Number 5. Have you ever said "I don't care" and watched a narcissist's behavior change dramatically? This phrase can be incredibly triggering, sparking a sudden shift in their behavior. Narcissists need people to pay attention to them and make them feel important. Telling them you don't care implies that their feelings, thoughts, and existence don't matter to you, leading to extreme reactions as they attempt to reclaim your attention. They can't handle being ignored or dismissed, and it can make them very upset or angry. So how can you avoid triggering this reaction? Instead of saying "I don't care," try acknowledging their feelings without agreeing with them, such as, "I understand this is important to you, but..." This keeps the conversation respectful while maintaining your boundaries. Number 4. Have you ever told a narcissist you're being too sensitive and faced intense backlash? This phrase can be a significant trigger, leading to a sudden and strong negative reaction. Despite their grandiose exterior, narcissists are highly sensitive to criticism and rejection. By accusing them of being too sensitive, you're invalidating their feelings, which can make them feel attacked and dismissed. This invalidation of their emotions can lead to an intense, defensive reaction as they strive to protect their fragile self-image. So how can you avoid triggering this reaction? Instead of saying, "You're being too sensitive," try gently steering the conversation towards a more constructive dialogue, such as, "Let's look at this from a different angle." This acknowledges their emotions without directly challenging them. By the way, have you ever dealt with a narcissist in your life? What was your relation with them? Share your experience with us in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. Number 3. Ever found yourself saying, "That's not true," and watched a narcissist's defenses go up? This phrase can provoke a strong reaction, causing a sudden and intense defensive stance. Narcissists often bend the truth to fit their narrative, and calling them out directly challenges their version of reality. This direct confrontation can feel like an attack on their credibility and self-image, leading to defensive and aggressive behavior as they strive to maintain control of the narrative. So, how can you avoid triggering this reaction? Instead of saying, "That's not true," try presenting facts without direct confrontation, such as, "Here's what I've found." This approach allows you to address the issue without directly challenging their version of events, allowing them to save face while still addressing any discrepancies in the conversation. Number 2. Ever dared to say, "I don't need you," and seen a narcissist's world crumble? This phrase can be devastating, triggering a profound and often volatile response. Narcissists' self-worth is heavily tied to the belief that others need and value them. Declaring your independence threatens their sense of importance and control, shaking the foundation of their identity. It challenges their perceived superiority and undermines their ability to manipulate and control others, leaving them feeling vulnerable and powerless. So how can you avoid triggering this reaction? Instead of saying, "I don't need you," demonstrate your independence through actions rather than words. Show that while you value them, you are also capable and self-sufficient. By asserting your autonomy in a respectful manner, you can maintain boundaries while minimizing the risk of a destructive response from the narcissist. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit that like button. It helps us know you're loving the content. Number 1. Have you ever tried to humble a narcissist by saying, "You're not as good as you think you are," only to find yourself facing a fierce backlash? This phrase is like a red flag to a bull, triggering a narcissist's deep-seated insecurities and rage. To a narcissist, being told they're not as good as they think they are is a direct attack on their ego and self-worth. They've spent years building up an image of perfection and superiority, and any suggestion that they're not as great as they claim to be is a threat to their very identity. They'll do whatever it takes to prove you wrong and maintain their illusion of grandeur, even if it means putting you down or making excuses for their own failures. So how can you avoid triggering this reaction? Instead of trying to humble a narcissist, try saying, "I think you have some great strengths, but also some areas for improvement." This way, you're acknowledging their positive qualities while also suggesting that they're not perfect. Without directly attacking their ego, you're offering constructive feedback that can help them grow rather than triggering their defensiveness and aggression. By the way, did you know there are some dark psychology tricks that narcissists might be using to manipulate you? And the worst part is, those tricks actually work. But don't worry, we've already created a video for you to recognize those tricks.